I've been speaking to so many people lately where you've reached a place in business when now you're getting too many clients to do it all on your own. You're noticing that things are just slipping through the cracks, and you can either focus on marketing your business and getting sales or doing the client work, but there's so much that you can no longer do it all on your own. You know that you need to hire and delegate to someone, but there's one thing stopping you: trust. I am Shanice Miller, and welcome to my podcast, Do Less. Yes, that's right, do less. It used to be cool to work 60 hours a week, but the world has gotten smarter and realized why spend more time to make the same or less money. I help small business owners build systems and processes to help them scale and find more time for themselves and their families. I'm going to provide you the best practices and all the tools and tips to scale your business. Welcome to my show. Kimberly, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you.
So, when I asked you earlier what was your biggest problem in your business, you told me it was trusting external resources that I know I need. Why is that a problem?
When we start a business, it's 100% our baby. It
Okay.
really is, right? Our businesses go through the same development life cycle as a human being does. Especially when you're someone like me, I don't have children, right? So, like, this is my baby. And I have tons of experience in the industry that my business is in. Like, right came from a level of an executive management. And I've gone through that whole entire process. So I know the business inside and out where I'm serving. It's that part of when you have built everything and you've put all that time in, because you have to kind of do it yourself at first. You have to
Mm-hmm.
experience everything, right? So then when it's time, like you said in the introduction, where you're bursting at the seams and you have to invest now and you want to invest, you don't want to spend. So you have to invest. And in our world of technology,
I know
and
you really emphasize wanting to invest, not wanting to spend. Just tell me a little bit the difference between the two because I hear you really highlighting that.
we do this in business so early because we think we are about to start a business. We need the office, we need the computers, we need the systems, we need the marketing, we need the funnels, we need all these things that society and social media and all the gurus tell us that we need. We forget that the gurus are trying to sell their product,
Mm.
right? So when you
Yeah,
show up in
I was
business,
naive. I was
right?
naive and
I'm
didn't
like,
realize the gurus were trying to sell their product when I first started out.
they're like, they love me and care about me very much. No,
Or they
right?
can, my thought was this person can get me there further faster.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so let me go ahead and pay for the expertise so I can get where I want to go faster.
Faster. What we forget is that in the beginning, everything that we need is there for free. Like
Mhm.
Google's giving MBAs out now, right? So everything that we need in the beginning is there. And then we have to build it. And even me in the beginning with my business development courses and stuff that I do with my coaching, I give away all the formulas, all the formats, all the step by step stuff away for free because I strongly believe you would be wasting your money if you came and spent thousands of dollars with me. You're not ready
Mhm.
yet. You haven't figured out actually what you need to serve your client best and 10x your time before your income. The income comes after.
I wish someone would have told me that when I was first starting off because that would have helped so much. And even now, I tell everyone who's like asking me, like, what should I do? How should I get started? And I'm like, first, read a book because it's so inexpensive and it's going to kind of give you like a blueprint. And then once you have that foundation, like a little bit of a base, then you can invest in a coach. But I jumped in, I was all in, invested in a coach before I even knew some of those foundations. And I realized like it was such a waste of my time because we're doing these things that I probably could have sorted out or maybe like got an hour of someone's time to like
Yeah.
flush out and then continued on instead of paying for this group coaching program that was high ticket. I had no business being in there.
Everyone's excited, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. It's that part of there's so many parts and pieces. I think sometimes the coaching industry does get a bad rap because there are people that are talented and have gone through something, and they go to market and they start selling their programs or their high ticket items or whatever it may be, right? And they don't think about every part of business needs to be mutually beneficial. I
Mm.
need to get something out of it as a coach, as every person or button is in that seat. So we forget about that important part in the beginning. So the way we can invest instead of spend. So my advice would be to anybody that's listening on your show, if you were to hire any type of coach or mentor or whatever it may be, what program you need or a trainer, I would go to the life stuff first because you are going to open up a business and you have left a job somewhere or have come back into the marketplace after having babies or whatever it may be. You're making a shift, a big emotional shift. And the best preparing that you can do is to get some life help. I believe in that. I agree with that. Getting some,
Mm.
go see a therapist, have someone to help you with that because there also is some grieving process that you need to go. There's something that pushed you to go open up your own business and hang your own shingle. So deal with the life stuff and the emotional stuff first. And you go do all the work and figure out what you need, kind of test things, really be in it because you need to go on this journey, right?
Okay.
And I'm the best coach. Go on your journey. I'm the coach waiting for you at the gate of your path. And if
So
that
what does that
happens,
mean?
that means you're ready. Because when you're on this journey, like you're weaving, waving all over the place, you're looking here, you're looking there. I'm trying this program, going to listen to this YouTube channel. I'm going to get this book. You need to go experience things yourself, just like when a child is growing up. They
Mm.
have these daydreams, they have this wonderment, they have this curiosity. Try and tell a 6-year-old they can't have candy, right? It's 9 o'clock at night. You can't have candy right now. They're going to be stubborn saying, you can't tell me what to do. I want candy. They're going to sit and figure out how to get that candy when you've gone to bed. So that beginning stage in life is exactly the same as the beginning stage in business. You have this
Mm.
wonderment daydream experience, and you have to go have these experiences and some bumps and lumps and screw ups to figure out, okay, that doesn't work because we've got egos, right? We are manic. We're like, hold my beer. I'm going to do this thing, right? And you're joining these coaching groups and everyone's dancing around and cheering. And you're like, yeah, yeah, I'm going to do this. And then you set out your offer and it's crickets.
So then people go to you when they've gone through the journey a little bit, but they're trying to get to the next level. You're already at the next level and you're having the problem with trusting to let go of this baby that you've had control over for so long. How does that feel?
It's a very, very uncomfortable feeling. And every stage of our business, we don't ever start out in our expertise. We think we do, but we don't. We start out in the beginning. So when you're at this next phase, this next evolution of your business and your brand and your niche, truly, you have to pause and really look at what do I do in this moment to maximize my time that'll take care of the things that I need taken care of while I go do the client centric important things to focus on because I'm the face of the business. So, how do I get all this mundane, everyday stuff? And the problem, even the trust problem, is with me is that technology is incredible. There's things changing every day. And so, it's that whole resource of, okay, who do I go to now? This does that. This AI, that AI. I have more programs downloaded on my computer that I've been looking at or apps, like testing out and looking. And I'll be like, I've been scrolling for about 5 hours now today. I should actually go do something. So I haven't really come past that trust part yet. I'm just kind of on that cusp of it.
Mm.
And the cusp of it and coming to the trust part is because my business has evolved to another level. I'm working with a PR media firm, right? We have something in common there.
Yes.
So I'm now relying on them of saying, okay, this is what I want and this is what I need. I don't want any of that other garbage to show up on my subscription list on my Visa statement, right? I want something that'll work, and this is what I need. Give me some advice. So I'm releasing that trust to someone else that I trust.
Okay. So now you are to a certain extent releasing some of the trust, but on the media side. And I think like marketing and media is something that's easy to hand it over to because it is seen as like, this is not my zone of genius.
Yeah,
I'm not the person who's putting out pitches or doing some of the marketing or Facebook ads, whatever it is. But you
yeah.
can see someone who is marketing to you saying, like, this is their zone of genius. And that's able to easier to do that. Like I said, trust is kind of like that buzzword. It's kind of like, giving me that feel that there's something else there. When was the first time that you trusted someone and the person didn't perform up to your expectations?
Yesterday.
That was the first time? That's not too bad. If I went my whole life and just yesterday.
We're talking business or personal, um, because personal, wow, it actually was yesterday. It was very funny because it was another part of getting a virtual assistant and hired a company and researched it and did all those pieces and controlled what I could control. And then the whole offer came out, the contract came out, and it was completely not what I understood of the
Mm.
offering being.
How'd that
And I
make you feel that you.
horrible. Was that I should have paused. Maybe wait, I'll think about it. Horrible.
Still the same feeling.
Yeah, still the same. Still the
Because you
same.
put in so much time, energy, and effort, and
Yeah.
then you're like, this is the outcome, but I did not think that this is the way it was going.
Yeah. And it is that part and that realization that as I was sitting this morning meditating and thinking about, okay, I can only control what I can control. I have this sphere of influence on the outside and everything else doesn't matter. And I understand also that I'm doing this evolution into my business, into this next phase. So I'm going to have some roadblocks, and I almost swore, but I'm going to have some roadblocks that are going to happen. So this is again part of my learning evolution process that happens. So I need to know and have the expectation with myself and be okay with it that this is going to happen so that I don't close my trust door because I
Mm.
want to trust people. I want to give them a chance. I want to be open. So if I close that trust door, I'm going to miss other opportunities. So it's something I really need to work on.
Yeah, I was in that same boat. Like I said, I went in hot and went and paid way too much for the first coach where I didn't know anything, thinking they could jump me up. And at the end of that year, kind of ended up with like nothing. And
Yeah.
so when it came down for like other coaches to pitch me on things, I lacked that trust.
Yeah.
And it's hard to come back from that because now it's like being skeptical, wondering if this is a gimmick in a sense or a scam. And even when you're doing the due diligence, like I said, I was too naive, so I wasn't really doing any due diligence. They said a couple of buzzwords, and I was like, I'm all in. Being young, 22, I'm all in.
It's hard, and it's even so what I'm learning and where I'm going to add and that I've learned from that process is I'm going to spend more time. I look at how I have gained other people's trust. So with my coaching program, I have an hour discovery call. I think giving someone a 15-minute quick discovery call of just talk to me for this is does not do anything to build trust
Mm,
because it's to me it says to the client or the prospect that's looking at me in the first place at that first introduction of okay, I'm only worth 15 minutes of your time and you want me to spend thousands of dollars with you. This makes no sense, right? So going from a psychological perspective and emotional intelligence, I'm going to give them an hour of my time. And then in the way my discovery call, the booking works, I'm very soft with my questions of like, tell me something I need to know about you. And then I can tell on the level of what they explain in the tell me something that I need to know about you, right? On how personal they get or where they touch. I
mm,
know with my years of experience where they're going to go and be. And then when we have our discovery call, we talk and we talk about everything, no prices and conversations. Actually, all my pricing's published, absolutely published out in the open. And that's another level of trust. So conversation, the money conversation never comes up. And then when we're done, I say, I want you to go think about this. I would like you to book another meeting again and we'll spend another hour talking. But in the interim, you need to go interview at least two more coaches and don't make that next appointment until you've interviewed at least two more coaches. and people's face just drop, right?
Mm.
And so putting processes like that there to take down and break down those barriers and act with intention that you are here truly to help and serve, and that it is mutually beneficial, and that it's based on reciprocity. So businesses, anybody looking to start a business today, or you're in the bump right now, you're trying to figure out, open the doors as much as you can. Really, truly, because if you are starting to step in your niche and talking into your niche, you are going to attract a certain minded people who are not going to kick down or kick at tires. It's the more you can do and the more lazy you are in your conversations, that better probability that they're going to sign up for that hour conversation and then come spend time with you. And then you send them away and go think about it.
I like that approach. So I've seen two different sides to it. And I've worked with so many different business owners, and I've
Mhm.
heard of the processes and seen the back ends for high ticket sales, high pressure sales,
Yeah.
getting the deposit on the first one, and then also seeing the difference in sales and conversions for someone who's maybe a little bit more relaxed, or, go ahead and think about it and things like that. I realized, as well as you did over the years, I'm not necessarily the person who really likes the high pressured sales. And so I don't do that one either. But it is like a, hey, let me know what you're thinking, what questions I can answer for you, so that we can make sure that this is a good fit for both of us.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I think that's really interesting. Where do you want to be in the next year?
It's big. it's I keynote speak a lot now, and I want to keynote speak even more. So that part of, with this theme of the podcast about doing less, I know that when I'm out there, I need working on a book. So it's how do you connect the book to the sales? How do you it's almost that word of funnel. So right now where I'm at in my business and the personality and the values behind my business, funnels don't work. So that's a really big also point to make sure of, put the right systems and processes in place that make sense and will answer to your ideal client's needs. So funnels don't work for me right now. That doesn't make sense. But when I'm going out and keynote speaking, even more so on the big stages, now I'm going to need that process attached to the books to lead them to the my YouTube channel, to lead them to all these places and all these resources.
Mhm.
So the next year, and it's getting there. It's very close. Is the keynote speaking, big stage, thousands of people, and just making sure that they get the greatest value out of that conversation that I had on stage, so that they don't forget about me when they go to the snack bar and get their Nanaimo bar. Right? I want to stay front of mind, and I want to help and serve. So
And
yeah.
how was that virtual assistant that you were looking to hire? How was that person going to be able to help you to achieve that bigger vision?
It was the collection of the data, right? Collection of the pieces, sorting it, what level they are in the process of becoming a client and a prospect, where they came from, being able to measure now the key point indicators of what are the best stages for me to be on. That is value aligned. Who did sign up for something? Who did sign up for my free YouTube channel? Who did grab a copy of my book? Just so that I know, and looking at the ideal client now, which is now the partners that I'm speaking at for the stage and on the stage, that does this venue really make sense to me or does it not? Because
Mm.
that also is when you are a keynote speaker, I'm getting the 5-figure payments right now. And that's a big investment for an organization. So it's making sure that again, I respect them as much as they respect me, and that we are both getting something out of this situation and as transaction. So the only part that I can own is that I'm delivering to the right people and I'm speaking and approaching the right organizations.
Okay. And then, so I assume that you proceeded forward with that virtual assistant company. Were they able to deliver on some of those things, at least that you were hoping?
Not yet. And that's
Right.
that
Okay.
part. Yeah, not
How
yet.
long
And
has it
that's
been?
yeah, it's been about a month and a half now, and I like them because they do the training up front, right? They're taking the responsibility. I say what I need. They do the training for the first 3 months, and then they come on board and we do check-ins once a month. And
Okay.
so there is a little bit of miscommunication and understanding, and I own some of that too. I am, you and I are giggling at the beginning. Sometimes I'm a hot mess because I got so many things going on, right? We're like that. Women are really, really good at performing with, the house burning down at the same time and you're still answering phone calls. But I think it is that whole part of figuring out how we can really work together the best way. And it
Okay.
wasn't, and I was glad to, because it wasn't a price decision, it was a value decision again. So I invested. So I invested more than the usual general pricing for a virtual assistant out there. There was something that I was particularly looking for. And so it is getting there. I'm really, really getting there. It's just, it's a process. Everything's a process, right?
And what were those specifics that you were looking for? Because earlier you did talk about like, should I use AI? And I know a lot of the systems that we put in place are ones where you are tracking that data, but without the virtual assistant. It's tracking through tagging, it's tracking through being able to actually pull up certain lists and things like that that we put people in through the duration of the funnel and adding them into saying like, okay, this person came through here, link tracking, a lot of those different things that we add into people's systems. So, what was that determining factor between using some of that AI and actually using a virtual assistant?
I'm near 50 and I'm still cool enough to be relatable, but I'm old enough to be wise. But with that cool factor, especially people in my world or in my age bracket, it starts to become very overwhelming and figuring
Mm,
out where again, right? So it's kind of going back to the where do I get these resources? Like truly, I've been in business longer than Google, right? 100% have been in business longer than Google, but or working longer than Google. And I sit here and think of, okay, why am I so afraid? Why am I so suspicious about all these things or trying to find a resource out there? Because it is so overwhelming. And why am I afraid to go there for wisdom when I've been around longer and people come to me for wisdom? So it's very hard to figure out what I need and what I need to do at this point in time that makes sense for the right investment for what I want to do. And finding the time again to figure out which one it is, because your questions are incredibly valid and you're incredibly intelligent asking those questions, because it is that part of, okay, what do I really need to track? And is it for my business? Is it clicks that matters? Does it, like, what is the metric that we're going to measure? And that's that kind of part of, I'm not sure yet.
mm. And well, with all that being said, what do you think you need most to solve your issue with building trust with
Hmm.
external people and others?
It's a big question. That's a really big question. I think it's that whole part about what everybody's craving in this world right now, especially with automation being such a huge thing. About us trying to just have a conversation with someone. It's probably the root of why I offer a 1 hour free discovery call. I think the whole part of anybody within the realm of helping with workflows, with helping people do less, help people do less by being available to have the conversation, of letting them ask these questions and say, because I'm smiling so much during our conversation because you're making me feel and ask myself some extra questions of what do I really want and what am I looking for and how can I get some help, right?
Mhm.
And so my whole thought in my brain goes to this part of, if I was to leave something for you on this podcast as you're helping me, be available for people to talk and have these conversations and ask these questions like you're doing with your podcast. Like, you're brilliant. I think the edge in the industry that you serve in and helping people with is be more human centric and available, because there is so much overwhelm and you're going to save me, right? An hour of time for me is over $1,000, right? An
Mhm.
hour of time. So where am I going to spend that hour of time? Right? I don't want to spend researching all this stuff. I really don't. So when people who have money to spend and want to spend money invest into their businesses and processes are going to appreciate having a conversation with someone saying, does this make sense? And they will probably go away and think about it. And then they'll probably come back to you in a month or so and buy. Period. That's the cycle. So I'm not sure if I answered your question where I went to because I'm too busy being selfish and thinking about myself right now. But it's incredible of just trying to figure out the human centric inside of business. We forgot about it. We've gotten too automated. Automated are tools there to help you, so you can spend more time being out in that world, being that incredible human being that you are, and attracting your ideal client.
So, what I hear you saying is that the solution to helping you to trust is being able to have authentic conversations.
100%. You're a
so,
person, I'm a person, I want to talk to people. I
so
like people.
using your approach coaching method, how would you coach a client who's having the same problem?
I would copy your information here that I have. And I'd say, hey, I know this person. Listen to this podcast and then like it and then subscribe and then get a hold of her. I,
Well,
I, I think that is that whole part of, because it's even what we talked about in the beginning, right? In the beginning, you're not ready to do these things. You have to roll up your sleeves. You have to have this wonderment. You got to be some soldiering, and that makes sense. So when you're in this realm that I'm in, because that's who I coach, right? When you're going up to that next level, it is so important. So as someone's going up there, I'd actually first help them find their communities, the communities that make sense, that are on the same level as you, right? Not back in that rah rah, let's go to a group session coaching. This is a part where they can have some really good conversations with people. And I'd ask them to talk to their peers who they're working with. What are you going? Have you seen anything new or different? And then it's also my part as a coach, and it's why I said yes to be on here with you too, is I have this incredible amount of resources that I have listing of saying, so when they do come to me saying, I'm looking for someone to help me with automation to save time, I need to do less. That's not my job. My job is to
mhm,
understand the theory. And my job is to recommend people like you. My job is to have conversations with people like you so that I can refer the ideal client and you can go do your magic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Why, thank you so much, Kimberly. All of that is completely true. And I will say this, even though having some not so savory experiences with high ticket coaching, getting there too early, it still gave me that launch point to start my journey instead of just staying there, having analysis paralysis, and not doing anything. I
Yeah.
probably would not be where I am today if I did not make such a big spend in the beginning, because after you make that first initial spin, you are hooked. You've already come so far, and I just wanted to keep going to find the next level. And eventually, with each step that I made, I learned a valuable lesson. I learned how to, understand how to ask better questions, how to figure out which coaching program would work best for me at this time. How do I know when to read a book, and how do I know when to actually get a coach to ask those targeted questions to help me to form a lot of the processes that I have today as well, from my experiences, from what I've seen other coaches and other business owners doing. So, thank you so much for coming on. It's really been a pleasure having you on. Please let everyone know how to follow you.
Mm. So I'm found everywhere. LinkedIn, Instagram are my two favorites that I hang out the most. So it's Kim Skermer on both platforms. Please, again, if you have any questions, join in the conversations. I come from this really emotional point of view in business, because it is true. It is our babies. It is our pieces. And I like what you just said at the end too, the way you wrapped it up. So it is that part of, you need to go fail somehow. And the ones that push past that failure is so incredibly important. It really is. So it's not the failures that happen, we need them. The point and the metric that makes sense is, as we move forward, how do we lessen that gap more and more between failure and that next phase? So it's been
Yes.
wonderful talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you. And I always say there are no failures, there are lessons learned.
100%.
This has been an amazing episode of Do Less with me, Shanice Miller. Share this episode with anyone who needs this today. Leave a 5-star rating and review. And remember, if you're an entrepreneur and you need to do less in your business, click the link in the description to work with me.